All right, in section 7, we are talking presentations, and your text has your text discusses it with using OpenOffice Impress. And if you have OpenOffice and you want to use that program, that's fine. But I'm assuming most of you will prefer to use PowerPoint, so that's what I'm going to show you here. Is how to open and operate PowerPoint. So we can go ahead and if you click on your Windows button down here, you can open up PowerPoint. It should be on your main drag of options there. And when you open PowerPoint, it brings you out to this kind of default layout where you can add your title and your subtitle. Real quickly, let's look over some of the main points they have about when creating a PowerPoint. So when you're creating a PowerPoint, you want to keep these main points in mind. You want to keep each slide very simple. You don't want to have too much information and make it look really cluttered. Use a large font that people clear in the back of the room. That way they can still see your slides. And this is usually at least a 28-point font. Don't use all capital letters because that makes it a little more difficult to read from the distance. Break your text up into smaller chunks so that there are no long blocks of text. You don't want people sitting there having to read an entire paragraph on your slide. Use graphics and charts to illustrate main points, and stick with a consistent background and design style. If it's wacky and lots of variety, that can make it be very distracting and unprofessional. So these are some of the main points you want to keep in mind when we're creating a new PowerPoint. So I'm going to delete these slides for now and start from scratch. So again, PowerPoint sets you up with this kind of default layout, and you can mix it up under this drop-down option for new slide. You can look at different layout options that are available, but this is a pretty good one to stick with. You can choose, there are different templates and designs that are put together. So each template and design might have a different format put together for you. So if we choose a certain format, and you'll notice that the title slide has a certain look, and then the following slides have their own look as well. So as you change the design, you'll see over here in our slides panel to the left what the title slide is going to look like and what your following slides will look like as well. So they all come with their own color schemes, different fonts. You can change all of that with this color drop-down option. You can change the color scheme, and it will apply that to the design template that you choose. You can also choose a design template and change the fonts. You'll notice as I mouse over, PowerPoint makes it really easy for you to make adjustments to all these slide design layouts. So then if I go back to my home tab here, this is all called your ribbon up here. So depending on the tab that you're on in your ribbon will show what area you're working in. So if you want to work on designs or look at the different designs, you'll go to the design tab. Home kind of takes you back to our home base where we can make some edits and such. So here, this will be your title slide, and then each slide that you add will be just more information for your presentation. And to add a new slide, you can either simply click on the new slide button there, or if you know you want a certain layout for the next slide, you can click on that drop-down option and click on the layout that you'd like to use. And so usually once you have your slide design picked out and your layout picked out, you can add transitions in between each slide. So each slide is each basically page of information that you're going to present. And as you're going from slide to slide, it's nice to sometimes have transitions in between your slides to kind of just make everything a little more smooth and organized and flow a little better as you go along in your presentation. So in PowerPoint, if you click on the Transitions tab, you can actually preview some of these transitions. If we could do push and apply that to each slide, and you'll notice how it pushes the one slide up into the next to move on to the next slide. Here's the split, the reveal. So you can kind of sample all of these different, some of them are pretty cool, pretty intense, but just keep in mind, especially it's going to depend on the audience that you're presenting to and what type of transitions you're going to include, because most of the time you really want to keep it professional, simple, not overwhelming. That one's kind of cool. And you can, so with each transition you choose, there might be different options that you can add to it. For instance, over here on this drop down, you can speed it up or slow it down. You could choose one and say simply apply to all instead of clicking on each individual slide and applying it. And you probably do want to just stick with the same transition throughout your presentation, just to keep it professional and simple and consistent. So then whenever you want to edit your slides, you can simply just click into them and it highlights it nice and easy, and you can type in your important points, and entering again will give you another bullet. Tabbing, once you hit enter and tab, that'll give you kind of a sub bullet point to emphasize or to support your main point, like so. Or you can shift tab to move your cursor or your tabs back out to the side. The more you tab, usually the smaller your font gets, and the kind of different bullets, depending on the design you choose, it might have different bullets formatted with it. So again, just simply double clicking to highlight everything, and typing in your same with up here. You can type in your title for your slides, your information for each text box. You can add more text box. Say you want maybe bullet points up here, but then you want to insert an additional text box down below for different information. But you have to be careful when you add in these additional text boxes. It kind of goes back to a default formatting, so you might have to adjust your fonts and sizes and so on with each text box that you add. So once you have some information in your slides and you kind of want to see what it looks like once you go to preview, you can choose this option down here in the corner that says slideshow, or I believe it's under slideshow as well. You can go from the beginning, from current slide, however you want to view it. And so then it'll bring up your presentation, and if you click on your arrows or the mouse buttons, it'll bring up your slides. You can preview it for how it's going to look once you do go to present it. And once you get to the end, you can hit escape. That'll bring you back into edit mode. So now we're going to talk about adding images to your presentation. I kind of just put a quick little presentation slide together here to go over the proper use of images and how to add them to your presentation. So first you want to find your image, because adding an image to a presentation can help keep the audience interested, especially if it really supports what it is you're saying. This could be, but again, keep it professional. So you want to stay away from, improper images. A lot of times you want to include pictures that support the information that you're presenting. So first, you're going to find an image, and there's lots of different resources out there, which I'm sure you're probably very familiar with. Picsforlearning.com is a good website to use. Google Image Search, PicSearch, Flickr Commons, those are all websites that you can go to search for images. So I'm actually going to go try this Picsforlearning.com website, and this is pretty cool. So say I'm at Picsforlearning.com, I'm doing a presentation on artwork or something to that matter, and I want to include some photography. It has some images available for you. I kind of like this one of fences, and it allows me to download the image right here. Or a little easier way is just to simply right click and save image as, and then I can put it in whatever folder I choose. So I'm going to call this fence, and it's going to save as a JPEG. You'll notice that JPEGs, GIFs, and PNGs are probably the most common image types to use in any of these presentations. So I'll save that there and move that out of the way. Go back to my presentation. So once I have my image, I have it saved to my computer. I just demonstrated the right click on the image, go to save image as, and then I saved it to my folder. And then once I have it saved, I'm going to insert it into my presentation. So I'll go up to the Insert tab, and picture, and then I'll go to the folder that I was in and find my image by double-clicking it. Now I can resize it and shape it and place it where it looks best on my presentation. Oops. So that's one way of doing it. Another option, if you do have like a layout that has the picture option already in it, you can just click on the insert picture image and it'll fill up that space with the image you choose. And we must always, always, always cite our sources and our images that we use. So make sure that when you're citing images, you're including as much of this information as possible. And if you remember, when we first got this picture, it actually gave me the proper citation for this image anyway. So if I just highlight that, Control-C to copy, and over here, then I'll need to put in a new text box and paste my citation in here. And I can resize it and get it to fit right under my image. So that is how you would then properly cite the image that you used in your presentation. Your text actually takes you through a lot more steps in that whole insert an image process because they want you to open up in this draw program and then make some changes and export it. But PowerPoint actually makes it really easy, so if you want to just follow the steps that I just demonstrated, that is perfectly fine with me. So for this assignment in section 7, assignment 7S, you're going to actually make a presentation telling me about the career that you chose to email me about in sections 5 and 6. So you should already have the websites bookmarked, so you have websites ready to go for information on this career, and now you're making a presentation for me over it. So you should have a presentation, a title slide, and with at least, you're going to end up with at least 4 slides in addition to your title slide. So your second slide should be an overview slide with, you're going to tell me about the requirements, any education and other training that's involved in this career, tasks, advantages and disadvantages of this career. So we'll be making a slide covering all of those topics. So then your next slide's going to be requirements, at least 3 bullet points of information, and at least one of the bullet points should be about education or other training in the requirements for this position. You're going to include some tasks that you would perform in this position, so at least 3 bullets covering those different tasks, and then some advantages and disadvantages. So give me at least 2 reasons why this is a good career for you, what are some advantages of it, and then at least 1 disadvantage or what might be a drawback about this career. So make sure you have all of those things included in your presentation, and don't forget you need an image of this career. I don't know if you want to find an image of a person performing this career or whatever it is, something that supports the career that you're talking about. And then make sure to go over your checklist. This is for your assignment 7S, and I just covered all the requirements of it and even the add-ons. So kind of work through those checklists, make sure you have everything, and then save it. You can zip it or you can just submit it the way it is if it's not too big, and submit that to the assignment 7S Dropbox.